shitload of rock and roll history.
The whole night was kind of crackling with excitement.
Got a long history of no bullshit.
We need to go to a place that has an active community.
And they know how to rock here, that's for sure.
I could take 250 bands, totally different bands. I don't have to name them, but think about it. If I did 250 totally different bands that are still similar in punk rock or this vein, and try to do the same festival, we would get 6,000 totally different people attending. And it wouldn't run. It wouldn't be the same.
With no interview lined up, basically no hookups in this particular city, we were kind of facing a night of just trying to ride it out in the van and then I guess pissing off to DC as early as possible in the morning. We decided against it. We jumped a subway, found some street press in the city, and it turns out that one of Baltimore's long-running punk bands are playing an art space, and it's their second last show. They're a band called Dagger. So we're going to go try and find this art space, this venue, and yeah, fuck yeah, we get to go to a show in Baltimore, so it should be good. Let's go.
When we were young, it was so easy. It was just us and them and us. There was this tension all around us. Attention building up inside us. All that attention to the tension. All that tension was...
The room was small and it was packed, just heaps of intensity. This trip and everything I fucking do for this show is... That's what it's about, like a new experience that just came out of nowhere, you know?
Things in Baltimore have definitely, like, the scene has really expanded over the last 9 years compared to some other cities, like, nearby, such as Washington, D.C., for example. People in Baltimore just have more fun.
I also think, like, the people are just really, like, just open-minded here.
I mean, yeah, it's a small city, so there's a lot of different bands. I think that when a band from out of town wants to book a show in Baltimore, they just really want to have a good Baltimore show. They're not really looking to, like, make a shit ton of money off the door or have, like, a financially successful stop on their tour. They just know it's going to be, like, a really fucking good time. I don't think I've ever been to Gainesville.
Some bands I like who have played it, but, you know, a lot of my friends go, like, every year. It usually happens at Halloween, and I like Halloween a lot, and I'd rather stay here and dress up stupid.
I wish I didn't have anything.
It turns out we slept next to a lovely cemetery. It looks like there's going to be a bit of a hole in things in Baltimore and DC, I guess. I guess kind of limited options in the bands, the fest-related bands that we contacted from those two areas. So, but that's my fucking fault. For some reason, I thought that sort of booking this as we go would be fine. And for the most part, it has been, you know. We're going to hit the road, head to DC and go see Abe Lincoln and some Forrest Gump shit.
Faz from the Quickening, this is the next guitar you need to own.
Behind me is the Discord house, home of Discord Records. If you're wondering, I am too chicken shit to go up and just knock on the door.
Washington DC hasn't quite worked out the way we wanted it to. Tough shit, I guess. It's the way it goes when you roll into town sometimes. We've been kind of unlucky. We've just missed crossing paths with a few tours that would have been cool. We'll head to Richmond tomorrow. We'll enjoy a few drinks now. Caught in a bad romance. Caught in a bad cover band, man. Worst fucking cover band ever.
The people that are involved in our scene and the people that play Fest have come from that point where either they've had to play house shows and do shows for people, or, you know, they've had to put on shows and do house shows for people. And that's really what this is. It's just our house is this town.
So we roll into Richmond within sending one text about, is there any shows on tonight? We hear about that Less Than Jake is playing in a car park somewhere for a like beer fest thing. The crowd's this
pretty much made up of college kids wearing football jerseys and waving lightsabers, and we sat out the front and contemplated for ages whether we were actually going to bother paying $15 to come into the show. Then turns out Les and Jake provide a bit of distraction, straight past the front door people, and we're in. Freebie!
And we're going on, start going on, and never going back now. It's just like giving up, yeah. And when going off, like
yeah, if like something comes up and it's kind of fun, you know, and it's a one-off thing, not a big commitment, it's going to be a big mess like it was tonight, we'll show up and goof around, you know, sure, why not? I've been to, I think, 8 of the fests.
What can you remember from the first one?
It was at a really small bar called the Purple Porpoise. I think the Pie Tasters played. They're a band from around here. I think it was 4 venues. My friend Tony, he's from Virginia. He's the guy that, you know, started the fest. And it was very like off the cuff, like, hey, will you guys play the show for me? It wasn't like, no one ever thought in a million years that it was gonna, you know, continue even to the next year, let alone 10 years later. So it's like the first night you're there, you're all excited, you know, you're like, all right, it's gonna be rad, and you party all night, and then you wake up and it's like, oh shit, it's Saturday, okay, oh, I gotta go see that band, and you kind of stumble over there, you know, and then you get through the day and you start, you know, you eat it like a shitty hot dog or something, and you start drinking, and you're having fun, and Saturday night's like, ah, and then Sunday morning is when it really hits you, and you're like, oh my God, I can't do this for another day. It's insane, it transforms Gainesville. The town is sort of just the right size to support something like this. Like if it was too big, then you couldn't get everywhere, you know, and it'd be like 10,000 people there. And if it was too small, there wouldn't be 8 or 9 venues that you could use at once. It's like the perfect size. Like when the fest is happening, the like college kids, the UF kids, they clear out. The whole town just turns into one big black t-shirt walking around, you know. It's kind of like a miracle.
to leave your past behind. As cross the bridge, cross the parallel city where the remnants of the past even lost amongst the old. And if you stir,
When some of your favourite artists are from a particular town and they're so passionate about being there, and you finally get to see all these things that they've written about, it's kind of like Asbury. And you can understand why there's such a loyalty to such a beautiful place, you know.
what are we said, oh? Why do we walk by? What is the name of this job of falling down? This is your history's end. Grab on, represented by the one.
So one of the bands that we've been in contact in Richmond is Landmines. They've been kind enough to invite us along to practice on a Monday night, so that's where we're going to head now.
Living on my way, too fucked up to care anyway. You bring me down.
I came here to play music. What'd you do?
I came here to play music. I moved here with a band.
I came here to play music.
Yeah.
He lived here, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. There's a lot of musicians here.
Yeah.
You have to be better because you're practicing next to like a fucking band who's killing it, and you're like, oh my god. It used to be a big art community, so all the artists, you know, were just naturally the people that were in bands. Like
The facts are Richmond Police pretty much have a squad that looks for parties or shows going on.
So they just go in and they close down venues for like, there's a stage there that there's no permit for.
I got busted for tax evasion for having shows at my house.
It's still good, it like still thrives, just changes a lot. Cops have pretty much cut the like lifeline of shows here, like so it has to change like that.
It has to be exclusive because it will get shut down so easy.
That's it.
Yeah, it was awesome. We played this side stage.
That first show, we played a really good spot, and the guy who owns the label we're on now walked by or heard us or something and sent us an email like a week later, and that's how we got our record out originally. All the people that care about going to shows go to Fest. Yeah. So there's not like, we did a week of Warped Tour once, and then you could tell people just went because they were like, it's something to do.
It's like none of the bands wanted to see the other bands on Warped Tour. This is like the opposite. Like all of the bands want to see all of the other bands.
You see people not only that like you met on tour in bands, but that you met on tour that were like going to shows.
It's like all the kids we met in the UK were there, what, 2 years ago? We just got back from like our European tour, did that at the end and saw them. They were like, we'll see you in 2 weeks. And we're like, what are you fucking talking about? And then we're at Fest like 2 weeks later. They're like, what's up? It's
There definitely was an old school network of awesome people that we met predominantly around Vale. People keep gravitating there. Maybe it's the history of awesome bands that have come out there. It'll just keep happening, you know. Good dudes from The Outsiders, a band from New Zealand, are on a fucking massive tour. They're on their way to Fest 2. They're crossing through Richmond tonight, so we've hung out an extra night and we're going to go see them play at the Cellar Bar.
Well, at the moment we're 4 weeks into a 9-week tour, 9 or 10-week tour. We've done some really big shows, which have been great. We're doing some shows with the Cobra Skulls and Nothingtons. But most of the time we're playing a lot of DIY shows, basements, at people's houses. It's the best because I prefer those shows most of the time because you actually get to meet the people that, you know, that are putting on the show, because at their house, you know, make friends with them and you party with them afterwards and stay on their couch or on their floor or whatever. It's playing a lot of shows that are like pretty dirty and down to earth. It's a lot more rewarding.
It's weird, like when you're from New Zealand or Australia, like a lot of the bands, the punk bands over here, you're like, oh, they're massive. They're like just like, you know, you think these are massive bands, and then you play with them and it's like, oh, there's like 80 people there and they're just like us and they're just really nice and just kind of cool, you know. The main thing is, like in the whole fest scene anyway, like people seem to be really friendly and they help you out, like lend you gear and like, you know, get you on shows, and like people that you haven't really met. It's just, yeah, it's just really, really close-knit community, I think, in a way. It's been surprising, like some people are sort of like, whoa, like, I didn't know what to expect, but you guys are amazing, and it's actually been really encouraging.
Back home they'll be like, oh, you guys are so lucky that we're doing that, you know, and we are lucky, but it's a lot of hard work. I mean, people forget how long you actually have to spend organising things and spending money on stuff. It's really hard.
We're pretty much homeless and jobless and just travelling around. It's not glamorous, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Pretty much the best music festival in the world in my eyes, like the stuff that I like.
Our show was really good last year. You know, we've supported quite a lot of American bands in New Zealand in the past couple of years, and a lot of those guys came along to our show just to kind of support us. And it's hard to describe what a good party it is. That's in my eyes, it's kind of like the best party I'll ever go to in my life.
Our first visit into the Carolinas.
He said, I need to hold people back.
You can't get that in another music scene.
Where are we going?
Bluegrass and metal and punk mixed together.
There's a great scene here. There's a lot of really invested people.
It's culminating right now. Like, I can feel it already.
I breathe the burdens.